Good day. So I'll be presenting the final POE, right? Uh, so let me just start. So I'll be going through this as part of the rubric. So I'll show you the password security, the DevSecOps pipeline, static login, and the overall functional web application, right? So let me start with password security. So as part of this application, as you might remember, we have your customer portal as well as your employee portal, right? So the password security should remain the same, right? So I'll just show you the securities, the overall securities that we implemented. So as you can see here, we have our Express, we have our course, which is for your portals. No, not portals, man. I mean your ports. Yeah, it means I can run this application on different ports. Remember, now I'm adding a new portal, so that I need a different port for my employee portal, right? Right. And then I have my shared storage where I will store my I'll store my payments. And then I have my Argon 2 ID here, my helmet, and my express rate limiting. Right? So my rate limiting will be used for when there's too many authentication attempts, right? So that means something can be fishy there. So and then you have your apologies. And then you have your password security. This is where I'm using my Argon 2 ID, which Argon 2 ID, you can see there's a memory cost here, we have your time cost, as well as your parallelism. Now this Argon 2 ID, you can see it also being used to hash, which is very important since passwords are sensitive information. So whenever you do input your password, then it must be hashed, right? Now we have to come to input whitelisting. What sort of password will you input, right? So you can see we do this using our regular expressions. So you can see for each field we have a specific regular expression, right? For the same, right? And then here we have our customer routes. So it gives you the status if the user is logged in, what should appear, where does the user go, etc. If the user already exists, you can't do it twice, right? You can register once, like those type of things, right? If you have invalid credentials as well, it should show you that, right? And then this is where we save our payment, since we have to save our payment, right? And then we have our employee routes. As you can see here, constant employees. This is my admin credential that will be used. As you might remember on the rubric, it mentioned about what your static login for the employee, right? So this is what will be done, and then this will be running on HTTPS, right? Then coming to DevSecOps, then let me just show you that. So I'll just go to my GitHub folder. So I have my CI, continuous integration, continuous development, and then I have my DevSecOps pipeline. This is what we need, right? So if I open it, let me scroll up. So this is the name of it, and then these are the operations you can do probably. Yeah, you can push on the main branch and pull from the main branch, right? Then we have your jobs. So this runs on Ubuntu latest. Then we have our steps here, and then we have our setup versions for Node.js as well, right? Then you have our backend security checks. So this is where you can run your npm audits on your local machine. But since this application is on GitHub, so it runs the audits by default, right, on GitHub Actions. And then our front end security checks, roughly the same thing. So you can run the npm audits on back end, you can run it on front end, right? Right. So this is roughly the same thing as well. Then we have our employee portal check as well. Static login verify, no registration endpoint exposed, right? So that's for what? For your API testing. So the moment it says endpoint, then you know it's API testing. Since there's no such thing as registration for our employees, so there's no such thing as registration endpoint, right? Then if I go to my GitHub board and then show you some actions here, so you can see this is the workflow, right? The pipeline. You see 11 workflows runs, right? 11 workflow runs, 24 or 2 workflow runs. So these are dependable updates. So these are roughly due to dependencies and all. Then this is my secure CID pipeline. So this runs by default basically, since the application is on GitHub. So GitHub Actions will show you everything here, right? You can also filter on the runs you want here, right? It's really up to you. So this is the chance of it. It covers basically what your code, it checks for the code if there's any code errors there, right? And then if there's dependency errors there, which is very important, and since this application doesn't have no registration for the admin, so it won't run the API endpoint or test, API endpoint for that one. It won't run the test on that one, but it also does the test on endpoints as well as part of the APIs. Okay. And our static login, as I've shown you there, we have static credentials for the admins, and then we have our overall app, functional app, right? So this is what I'll do since I've already started running the backend. So this is what I'll do. So let me just run this. Let me just click on that. Hopefully it opens. What does it say? Oh, control click. Okay, here it is, right? Then now let me open 302. So this is this one is my employee portal. 302 is the employee portal. So let me just close this one. You see any tabs? Let me just close this. So you see 3000, this is my customer portal. 3002, what is my employee login, right? So let's start with the customer, right? So just use the test user. So we can see everything is here is input whitelisted, right? We're using strict regular expressions. Let me just copy this, right? Then scroll down. So I'll just secure pay 2026 exclamation mark. Perfect. See, the user already exists. So instead, let me log in, right? So test user password or secure pay 2026 exclamation mark, sign in. Invalid credentials. What did I input there? Okay. Secure pay 2026 exclamation mark. Invalid credentials. That's odd. Okay, let me register again then. Which one I can use? Let me use tabam. Then I'll use tabam at gmail.com. Just copy this. Then I'll use secure pay 2026. But it shows the application is working if I forgot the credentials. Interesting. Not now. Okay. Then I'll just say tabam at gmail.com. Secure pay 2026. I just hope I inputted the right one now. That means it's me that I'm inputting the wrong password. Secure pay 2026 exclamation. Yeah, now it's fine. What was I doing? Okay. So now let's make a payment. Okay, let's do it. Check-ins. No, let's call it Michael. That's the name of him. Okay, now we can use this one. Okay, and then just say no description. Or let's just say not applicable, right? Then let's send it. Okay, what does it say underneath? International payment submitted successfully. Now let's log in. So as you might remember, as part of the reboot, you're supposed to use static login. So these are the credentials. But this is just for demo purposes, right? When this application goes to production, you won't be able to see the credentials on the front page. That shouldn't happen at all. And let's log in. You see, these are the processed payments. As you can see, this is the one we just made. See the reference, not applicable. This is my Swift code. This is my account number that I made the payment to. Same as this one. Thank you for your service. Good thing it shows you the time. See the time which it was made. Right? So if I refresh, it should show me the same thing. You see? Loaded 3. Right? So now I can sign up. So that's the chance of it. So all in all, I've shown you what the password security, how it works, right? Your Argon2 ID, your hashing, your input whitelisting, what sort of password you should include there, because we don't want any password. But since also on the employee side, if you saw it, you're also using a regular expression type of password that will meet the regular expression patterns. Then remember, there's that DevSecOps pipeline. I've shown you the ones on GitHub. Then I've shown you the one that I can run locally. Right? What does it do? It checks for vulnerabilities in code. It checks for vulnerabilities in dependencies. As you saw those errors there, some of the dependencies were not correct. Right? And then it does also the API testing. Right? It makes sure that it does that. Right? And then we have static login. I've just shown you that. And then we also have our fully functional app. The user is able to log in, a customer is able to register, log in, make a payment, log out. Simultaneously, once the customer is done making a payment on the employee portal, the employee is able to log in using the static credentials, log in, then see all the other payments or processed payments that have been done. So that's the chance of it. Hopefully everything is covered in this video. Thank you for your time. Have a blessed day.